Right, hey guys, it's Weston here. So today I'm going to be reviewing the HTC One M9. So what you are hearing and seeing now is direct from the HTC's camera, which is on my tripod just in front of me. So I do have a studio light on above it as well, because the lateral light isn't that great today. So anyway, let me know down in the comments what you think of the HTC's audio and footage. So I'd just like to say that Vodafone did send this out to review, so a massive thank you goes out to them. So now let's get on with the review and start with the phone's design. So starting with the design, and the HTC One M9 is possibly one of the nicest looking phones of the year in my opinion. Some people may disagree, but I actually think it's very nice. So up top you've got one of your boom sound speakers. So these are machined and they just look fantastic, and one of the best implemented I've seen on a phone. Next to that you've got your cutout for a sensor and your front facing camera. Go down into the middle and you've got your 5-inch display. So this is covered in Gorilla Glass 4, so that means that it's very tough and very durable and better than last generation 3. So then we go right down to the bottom and we've got the HTC logo and the bottom boom sound speaker. Moving round onto the side of the phone and we've got your power switch. So this has got a very nice texture on it, so you can actually feel the difference between that and the volume rockers above. And then above the volume rockers you've got your little port for your micro SIM. Then on the opposing side you've got one cutout for your SD expansion, and that's pretty much it. Go down onto the bottom of the phone and you've got your port for charging and your 3.5mm jack. And then going right round to the top you've got your IR blaster, so you can actually use this as a control for your TV if you want to. So now we spin round onto the back of the phone and we've got those antenna bands which aren't that nice looking, but I understand why you need them because obviously of the metal body. Then we go down onto the camera module and dual flash. So this is a dual tone flash, so we'll cover that in the camera portion. In the middle of the phone we've got a HTC logo, and then right down at the bottom we've got the other antenna band and some information about the phone. All in all though, the phone is very nice. I just love the dual tone colour, so you can see the back is silver and the side is gold, and it just looks very nice and sort of classy. You can also see that the phone is a tapered design as well, and it's curved, so that means that not only does it look nice but it feels nice in the hand, and it just fits in your hand very nicely as well. Now a lot of complaints people have been having is just how slippery this metal finish is, and I would agree it is a very slippery phone. So I would advise looking at slick wraps or dbrand and getting a skin for this, or a case as well, just in case you are a bit worried about dropping the phone. Then we get onto build quality, and again it's one of the best of the year I think. The build is absolutely solid. I mean, there's no flex, there's no giving it. The buttons feel fantastic and you're not going to have to worry about it. The only issue is the back is quite prone to scratching, so again a skin case is probably advised if you want to keep it pristine. Then we get onto the in-hand experience, and I've already covered this a little bit, but in the hand it feels fantastic. The 5-inch form factor is just perfect for my hand size. So the phone measures in at 144mm tall by 69 wide by 9.6mm thick, and coming in at 157 gram. So it is quite on the heavy side, but it never feels too sort of awkward in your hand. And like I said, the form factor just feels fantastic, and you're not going to need to do any awkward gymnastics unless you've got really small hands. But I've just found the experience in hand is one of the best I've ever experienced, to be honest. So now we get on to the display, and again it's a very good display. So this is a 5-inch 1080p Super LCD display with a pixel density of 441. Now the screen is very nice. It doesn't have the same sort of viewing angles as an IPS panel, but I have noticed that they've not been too bad at all, and it performs nearly as good as IPS panels I've tested. One thing to note though is the colours are very nice. They've got a little bit more saturation and contrast than an IPS panel, and colours just have got a little bit more of a pop to them. They don't quite pop out as much as an AMOLED display, but they look very nice. So looking really close at the text, you can see it's very crisp on this 1080p panel. So there's going to be no rough edges, no blockiness, and it just looks crisper, to be honest. So if you do like reading web pages and stuff like that, it's a very good experience there. Looking at the blacks and whites, you can see the black is very nice and deep, and again the white looks pretty true and doesn't have any horrible discoloration. So now we get onto the UI, and this is where it starts falling down a little bit for me. I'm an Android purist at heart and I love stock Android. Now that doesn't mean I'm not willing to try other UIs, and I have give this a good go, but to be honest, I'm not really a fan of Sense. So speaking of that, this is running Android 5.1 and Sense 7, which you might like. I personally didn't like it. I don't like the look of the icons, and I don't like just how the UI just looks in general. Like I said, I'm an Android purist at heart, and just the differences in between that and Sense, it's not bad, it's just, like I said, I prefer the cleaner UI of stock Android. But if you are like me and you don't like HTC Sense, they have got an included theme store as well. So what you can do is open that up, select through a massive library of themes and change the look of it. So if you're one of those people that is put off by Sense UI, then it can be changed very easily. So now we get onto performance, and again, it's a mixed bag. So this is packing a Snapdragon 810, which we all know has had some problems, an Adreno 430 and 3GB of RAM. So onto that processor, and I did do a video on this testing its benchmarking and gaming performance, so I will link that in the description if you want a more in-depth look at that. But we all know that the HTC is prone to thermal throttle, and I have experienced that as well during gaming sessions and during the video. But in general use, you're not really going to notice the thermal throttle at all unless you're really pushing the phone in, like I said, intense gaming or shooting 4K video. So just everyday tasks like swiping through the UI, going into your app drawer, going into your settings and stuff like that is perfectly fluid and perfectly smooth, and I've not noticed any issues whatsoever. Plus as well, with 3GB of RAM, it is pretty good at multitasking as well, so you can keep loads of apps open and the phone won't struggle at all. And it actually switches between apps very quickly as well. So for productivity and multitasking, I can't complain at all. Gaming, just because of the chip and it getting so hot, I would say it's not brilliant. Even though games do look fantastic and play very well, the heating issue is sort of a bit of a letdown. So now we get on to battery life, and I'm both impressed and not impressed at the same time. Now this does have quick charge, so it will charge 60% in 30 minutes, which is pretty awesome in my opinion. It does have a 2840 mAh battery, which again is pretty impressive. However, I have noticed some issues with the battery life. Some days I get really great battery life, like on screen now you'll see I got 4 hours screen on time with pretty mixed usage, so a bit of gaming, bit of social media, bit of YouTube, email and all that good stuff. So I did get 4 hours there. So on heavier use days I did see a bigger drop in battery performance, and you can see here on screen with 8% left, I only used 2 hours and 40 minutes of the screen. But like I said, that was more heavy usage than the other day. Even so though, 2 hours 39 isn't that brilliant. So now we get on to hardware. So like I've said already, this does have micro SD expansion, and you can expand the phone up to 128 gig. It also has NFC as well, which we all know has been omitted from some phones this year, but HTC, I've seen Sense and Pac-10 I've seen to that, which I think is pretty cool. Like I said, it also has an IR blaster at the top as well, so if you do like to use your phone as your remote, you've got that option there. So now we get on to another slight letdown of the phone, and that is the camera. So this is a 20 megapixel f2.2 aperture, and it can shoot in 4K and 1080p. Now, it's both capable and not capable. Now, during my testing of the camera, which again I'll link down in the description, I was impressed somewhat by the photo quality that you could actually achieve if you know how to get the best from the camera. In auto mode, it's a little bit hit and miss sometimes. Sometimes the dynamic range is good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it overblows areas, sometimes it doesn't. So that is a bit of a hit or miss. If you're willing to use the camera in RAW mode, then you're much more likely to get a better shot. But for the average person, they want to use it in auto mode, and for me it was a little bit of a disappointment. Again, the same with video quality. It was okay. I had some issues with focusing as well, so I was having to touch to focus instead of having the phone actually autofocus, which sometimes it just flat out refused to do. So the camera, like I said, is capable of getting some decent shots and some decent footage if you know how to use it and if you're willing to put the effort in to actually get those. Then we move around onto the front facing camera. So this is a 4 megapixel ultra pixel camera. So this can shoot 1080p video, And I'm actually a little bit more impressed with the front than I am the back, to be honest. The microphone's like, so yeah, let's just have a spin round. See how it copes with the front light. So you can see I've took a couple of selfies here, and for the most part they look pretty reasonable outdoors. Again, 1080p footage at the front looks pretty good as well. So if you like using your phone for Skype and video calls, or if you film quick videos for social media and stuff with a front-facing camera, then for the most part it's okay. So now we get on to a redeeming feature for the HTC, and that is the sound, which in my opinion is very good. So as we all know, it's got boom sound. So what I'm going to do in a couple of seconds is play a couple of samples of the speaker. But for media consumption, for listening to music, for gaming, these speakers are pretty much unrivaled at the minute. So the HTC's boom sound is pretty cool. It's got Dolby built in as well, and it's supposed to simulate 5.1. I didn't really notice any of that, to be honest, but it does sound better than other front-facing speakers I have tested. So the boom sound does have two modes, so it's got theatre mode and music mode for when you're listening to it through the speakers. And you can actually notice quite a big difference between the two modes as well. So if you're listening to music, it's obviously better to have it in music mode. If you're watching videos, movies, then having it in theatre mode is a little bit better. Then when you plug a phone into the 3.5mm jack, again you've got a couple more options. So you can either have the enhancements on and off. I've noticed that there wasn't a difference in quality too much between the two modes. However, the mode on was much louder. So if you do like your music loud, then I'd have it in that mode. But like I said, for quality, there's not really that much of a difference. So now we get on to the summary. So what do I think of this phone? Well, to be honest, I see its appeal. I mean, the design and build is fantastic, and like I said, probably one of the nicest phones and best built phones of the year. It does have its issues, like the battery life is a little bit hit and miss. The camera, again, is hit and miss. Good points, the sound is fantastic. The screen is very, very nice as well. The UI, again, a little bit hit and miss. You might like it, you might not, but it can be tweaked with a theme store, which is a pretty good addition. Overall though, for the phone, is it actually worth picking up? For the right price, yeah. I mean, I've seen people saying that they've got this for under £300 UK, which I think is a pretty good price. So if you can get the phone for that, then it's well worth considering. However, comparing it to the S6, the G4 and all the other flagships of the year, I just don't think HTC have competed with those this year. But overall, I mean, it is a good phone if you can get it for the right price. Right guys, so we're going to end this video with a quick clip from the HTC's front-facing camera. So let me know in the comments what you think of this phone. Do you think it's still worth picking up? Let me know down in the comments, and I'd love to hear your opinions on what you think of the HTC. So if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button for more videos coming soon. Don't forget to share, comment, like and all that good stuff if you enjoyed the video as well. So that is it guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you all on the very next video.